Hello guys and welcome to this YouTube channel, Creative Minds. So in this video I'd like us to cover about milestone 2 of the computer project Victoria School Club membership system, which is the Kcse project for computer studies. So I want us to discuss what is entailed in milestone 2. In our previous video, the previous video that I uploaded, I covered milestone 1. So under this milestone 2, basically, milestone 2 is system construction and presentation. So I want us to begin with the first one, chapter 4, which is system construction. So just a recap of milestone 1. So milestone 1, we discussed about all these things. Let me just go back. Allow me to. So milestone 1, we discussed these different parts. So the first one is the title page. We discussed about the title page. We discussed about the preliminary pages, that is the declaration, the dedication. We discussed about the acknowledgement, that is in milestone 1. Then we go on, we discussed about chapter 1, the introduction, the background introduction, the problem definition. We discussed that in length. Then we had the overview of the existing system, system structure, overview of the proposed system. We discussed it. We discussed about the objectives of the proposed system. We discussed about the benefits of the proposed system. We discussed about the disadvantages of the proposed system. The scope of the system, we discussed about it. Cost and benefit analysis, we did that. Then we went ahead to discuss about the feasibility study. We then discussed about the fact finding. We discussed about summary of the fact finding, system requirements and specifications. We did that. Then I had a separate video of the system flowchart. So then we had the structured design, the detailed design. I discussed about them. So after that, we have system construction. System construction and presentation is our milestone 2. So our milestone 2 is system construction and presentation. So if you have not understood milestone 1, kindly go back and check my YouTube video, milestone 1. So I have a video of milestone 1 whereby I explained everything which is contained in milestone 1. I also have a separate video explaining the system flowchart. So, and if you have any challenges, kindly reach out to me in the number below. I'm going to share my contact and my email address. So today I want us to learn about system construction. So system construction. So this is what you're going to do under milestone 2. So under this part is whereby we are going to construct the system, that is using Microsoft Access, the database. So under milestone 1, we learned about the system design, and in system design we had the system flowchart, which contains all the processes that are done in the system. Then you had the table structures. So under the milestone 1 is where you identify your tables. So how many tables will I have? That is why we drew our tables. We identified the field names, the data type, and the description. So that is in milestone 1. So in milestone 1, we are not constructing the system, but we are determining, or we are asking ourselves, how many tables will we require? How many forms will be there? How many reports will be generated? How many queries will I have? So basically it's just drafting what will be entailed in the system. Now in the system construction is the actualization of the system design. So whatever you had in the system design, you now actualize it under this phase, the system construction. So under the system construction is where we now develop the tables, the actual creating of the tables in Access, creating of the forms, creating of the queries, creating of the reports, creating of the relationships in Access practical. So under this part, I want to explain the documentation part and also explain the Microsoft Access part. So first of all, you need to explain what is entailed in this part. So I'm going to use my example. So feel free to tailor it according to your needs or according to your specifications. So in my example, I've done this. This phase involves creating the database tables, designing the user interface, and implementing the required functionality. The goal of this phase is to develop a reliable, efficient, and user-friendly system that meets the requirements and specifications outlined in the previous sections. To achieve this goal, we'll use Microsoft Access as the database management system to store and manage data. So let me remove that part. So to achieve this goal, we will use Microsoft Access as the database management system to store and manage data. In this section, we'll discuss the steps taken during the system construction phase, including the creation of the database tables, the design of the user interface, and the implementation of the required functionality. So you realize that under this part, before beginning the relationship, you're going to explain to the examiner what is entailed in this chapter. And what I've said is that in this chapter, we have the two parts. We have the documentation part and we have the Microsoft Access. So in milestone 1, there's nowhere we are dealing with database. But now in chapter 4, system construction, milestone 2, is now we are beginning access. We are now beginning developing the system. So and while developing the system, we are going to document it. So we are going to explain the steps taken while developing the system. So this explanation of the steps taken while developing the system is now what we call the documentation under this part, the chapter 4. So you're going to explain what you're doing under this part. Then we go to 4.1, database relationship diagram. So I'm going to refer mostly in the milestone 1. So in milestone 1, we drew entity relation diagrams. Entity relation diagrams. You are identifying what type of relationships am I going to have. So we had the different entity relation diagram, but now under this part is where you have a screenshot, of your relationship. So take note that I have videos of relationship, of how to create relationship. I have separate video of how to create tables. I have separate video of how to create queries. I have separate video of how to create output screens, that is the reports. I have a separate video of how to create input screens, the forms. So make sure you go and follow up my video of creating tables. You go and follow my video of creating forms, my video of creating queries, and my video of creating relationships. So after you have created all of them, then now you can screenshot. So I assume that you have done that. So let me go to my system. So my system looks like this. So when I go to relationship, so the relationship part, go to database tools, relationships. So all your relationships will be displayed here. So under this part on the documentation, database relation diagram, you'll first explain. The database relation diagram is an implementation of the design shown earlier. Yes, the design shown earlier. The design is what? The entity relation diagram. So we had the entity relation diagram. But now, after actualizing it, is now we have this one. So you come here on your system, you screenshot it. How do you screenshot information? Using the print screen button. So you press the print screen on your keyboard. You press your print screen on your keyboard. Then you come and paste. Then you come and paste it here. So you paste, after clicking the print screen, you paste it. So you have to crop it. So picture format, you crop it, you remove the unwanted part. That way. So that is an image, of the relationships, of our relationships. So after doing that, you are done. So this is the documentation part. The system part, I've explained it in a separate video. So go and follow my video of creating tables. So this part, you're going to begin now creating tables. So you go and create tables. After following my video of creating tables, you follow my video of creating relationships. You create relationships. After doing that, after creating relationships, is now when you go to queries. So take note of that. After creating relationship is when you go to queries. So after creating queries, you now go to generation of reports. Then you create the input screens. I have separate videos, so I'm just going to explain the documentation part. So that is it about the relationship. Then you explain how did you enforce referential integrity. So you realize that in computer, a relationship is not valid until you enforce referential integrity, and I've explained that in my relationships video. So after that, you go to database tables. Milestone one, we had table structures. So we only drew tables. We only drew tables in design view, how they will appear in design view. We had the field names, the data types, and description. Only drawing. But now in milestone 2 is the actual construction. So after you have constructed your tables, so after you have followed my videos and constructed a table, so after constructing a table, you now come to design view, you open your table in design view. In milestone 1, we were drawing, but in milestone 2, you screenshot it. So you use print screen button, you screenshot, that is the first table, activities table. So here, in my example, I've used membership table. So database table, membership table, 4.3.1. So you are going to explain what will this table do? What is it going to do? So I'm going to say that membership, of course, membership table holds the details of different members. So you're going to explain here before pasting your screenshot. So I'm just going to give you an example. You're going to say the membership table shown below in design view is used to store details of members of the club. You go on. It contains the different fields and their data types. Semicolon. Membership ID, which uniquely identifies the members. Realize it is a primary key. So membership ID, which uniquely identifies the members, of data type text or short text. Student ID, which links the different students who are members to the students table of short text data type. Club ID, which links the different members to their different clubs of data type short text. Membership category, to identify the category of the member. Membership status, to identify the status of the member, e.g. active or exited. Role, it is used to identify the different role of the member in a club. So that is just an example of how you're going to explain the membership table. After doing that, you come and screenshot it, you open it in design view, you open it in design view, you screenshot it, then you come and paste it here. You come and paste it here. Screenshotting using print screen, the print screen button. It is on your keyboard. So when you look on your keyboard, print screen, print screen, print screen, you will see a button labeled like this, print screen button. Or let me show you. Let me show you via my on-screen keyboard. Print screen, this one. So you're going to see a button like this on your keyboard, print screen button. So you come here, you click on screen, it captures the screenshot. Then you come and paste it. So you come and paste it here, that way. Yeah? So that is how you're going to do that. So that is one of the table, membership table. I've told you the explanation. Then you come to activities table. Same case. So you're going to just use the same case that I've told you. You're going to explain. This is the activities table. It is used to keep track of the activities in the club. It contains the different fields and their data types. Semicolon, activity ID. It uniquely identifies the activities and it is of data type short text. Club ID, it links the activities table to the clubs table and identifies the club. Activity name, this is the name of the activity. Date of activity, it identifies the date of the activity. Revenue generated, so this is a field that holds the revenue generated from the activity. Then now you come and paste it. You come to your database, you screenshot, you paste it there. And then you go to the next table, annual parties table. You must have an explanation. You explain there. This is the annual parties table. It is used to hold records of the annual parties held the club. It contains the following fields. Number one, party ID. Party ID field is used to uniquely identify fields and it is of short text data type. Club ID. Club ID is used to link the annual parties table to the clubs table and it is of short text. Event name, it is the name of the event. Event date, it is used to hold the date of the event. The total cost, it is the total cost of holding the party. It is of short text data type. So school contribution, it is a calculated field where the school contributes this amount, 7%, the 70%. Club contribution, it is a calculated field where the club contributes 30%. So that is how you are going to explain your different tables. Then you go to club exits. Club exits table, you then explain this table is used to hold the details of members who have exited different clubs. We have different fields and the data types. Exit ID. Exit ID uniquely identifies fields. It is of short text data type. Membership ID, clearance status. You're going to explain them. Club leadership table. This table is used to hold details of the different leaders in different clubs. We have the following fields. Leadership ID. It uniquely identifies the fields. It is of short text data type. Club ID is used to link the club leadership and the club table. It is of short text. Student ID is used to link club leadership and the students table. Role ID is used to link the club leadership table, under the roles table, start ID, start date, should be start date. So the date, it is used to show the date the leader started, or the date the member started to lead the club, and the end date is used to denote the date the leader terminated the contract. Then you have the clubs table. So this is a table used to hold details of the different clubs. It contains the following fields: clubs ID, it uniquely identifies the fields, it is of short text data type. Club name, it is used to show the name of the club, it is of short text data type. Patron ID is used to link the clubs table to the patron table, short text. Registration fees, it is a calculated field even in the question. Yes, I've tackled this in my video of constructing tables. So I'm going to share the different links of the videos of the tables, the forms, the queries in the description below. Events table, it is used to hold details of the different events. We have the event ID, uniquely identifies the records. Club ID is used to link the clubs table to the events table. Event name, the name of the event of short text data type. All those, so you're going to explain them. So I hope using my previous explanation, you can be able to implement that in all your tables. After that, we go to database queries. So you are going to explain, in order to combine several tables, you need to create queries that will be used to process various transactions and generate. So we have different queries. I also have explained how to do that. So under this part is where you simply come and screenshot the queries and you paste them there in design view. So queries, let's say total revenue, design view, that way. Then you screenshot, you come and paste it here. So you'll do that. So total revenue, say that this query is used to calculate the total revenue generated by the club. You come and say here, inactive members query, it is used to display the members who have exited the club. Club savings query is used to display or calculate the total savings of the club. So you will implement that in all the other queries of yours. Then you go to user manual. So before that, so we have different variations, or you can tackle this differently. So after the queries, you can now paste the forms, or you can integrate the forms under the user manual. So mine have integrated them under user manual. So I have my user manual, then introduction. I'm going to explain this user manual has been prepared to guide the users on how to effectively use the Victoria School Club membership system. The system has been developed to assist the club management in managing the club's activities, members, and financial management. This manual provides step-by-step instructions on how to use the various features and functionalities of the system. It is aimed at ensuring that users can efficiently perform tasks and operations within the system. So you have a description. Then you have software requirements, hardware requirements. So this is just a repetition. We had this in milestone 1. So you explain how to install, start and run the system interface. So you explain a startup screen will appear in which the program will load its components for approximately that time. So I'm going to show you how to create a splash screen later in my video. So you screenshot, you paste it here. Data manipulation. So during data manipulation, our main home screen is used This is a very user friendly and easy to use. So you screenshot your main form. So this is the main switchboard. Then you now screenshot the different forms. So new member, you screenshot the membership form, clubs, new club, yeah, the clubs form, the events form. So now you screenshot the different forms. Generating reports. You give description of how you can generate reports. So in my case is to generate group reports, click on the buttons aligned on the right on the main switchboard. So this is my reports. So to generate reports, I will simply click there. Members, so you have a screenshot of some few reports that way. So after that, we go to another part, system implementation. So you realize that I'm just explaining the documentation. So on how to create the reports, the forms, I have separate videos. I'm going to post the links in the description. So make sure you look on my description. You go and follow along how to create tables, how to create queries, how to create relationships, how to create forms, how to create reports, how to create a main form, how to create a splash screen. All the links I'm going to post them there. But for now, I'm going to system implementation. So after developing something, we realize that in the last chapter in Form 3 work, we learned about system development. So after system construction, after developing a system, we now have the actual deployment of the system, so the system implementation. And we have different things that come along with system implementation. The first thing is staff training. So we learned about staff training, and the sole purpose of staff training is to avoid the user resistance. So we realize that user resistance is very common in systems. So to avoid the user resistance, we need to have staff training, and also for the users to easily use the system, to be familiar with the system. So under this part, we have system implementation. So it comes after the user manual. So system implementation staff training. So this I'm going to explain using my example. As part of the system implementation, it is crucial to ensure that all staff members who will be using the new database system are adequately trained. Then you say the training program will cover the following areas. So you have some few areas there which your staff training will cover. Then you also explain the changeover strategy. So in system implementation, in system development, we learned about the different changeover strategy. So you can choose the suitable one. So we'll do that. Then we have system review. So we have the different system review. So you will also have one of them there. Then you also have challenges encountered during system development. So you also capture the challenges. So make sure you have at least 3 challenges there. Then you cover the strength of the automated system. This is just a repetition, but you have it there. Weaknesses also, you also have the weaknesses. Then you have recommendation. We have the recommendations. So you need to have recommendations. So you should have this. So based on the system review, the following recommendations are suggested. So realize that from our system review is now where we come up with the recommendations. So improve user training and support, enhance data validation and error checking, implement regular data backups and security measures, evaluate system performance regularly, then you explain. Then conclusion. So you must have the conclusion. So a summary. So you're going to summarize, and I'm going to give you mine. In conclusion, the development and implementation of the automated system for Victory School Club membership system greatly improved the club's operations and management. The system has enhanced the registration process for new members. Despite some challenges encountered during the development phase, the system's strengths, such as its user-friendly interface, accuracy, and reliability in data management and reporting, have outweighed the weaknesses. So, under the conclusion is where you outpour the advantages. So, you outpour the advantages. So, everything has got the weaknesses, but then for system to be feasible, it needs to have more strengths than weaknesses. So under this part is where you pour out the strengths, that the strengths have outweighed the weaknesses. Thus, the system is practical because you cannot implement something which has a lot of weaknesses. So under the conclusion is where you pour out the strengths, you explain how the strengths have outweighed the weaknesses. Then we have the conclusion statement, and it is highly recommended for adoption. It is highly recommended for adoption by other schools. So we realize that this system we are developing it solely for Victory School. So since it is practical, or since you can easily implement it, you now recommend it to for adoption by other schools. Then we have bibliography, very important. You need to reference, you need to have the different references. So and the different references should be in APS style. So those are some of the references, at least 3 references. Then you have appendix. So appendix is where you explain the abbreviations that you have used. Also, so now we don't have coding in databases. So here basically is where you use the abbreviations that you have used. So that is a wrap up of the documentation of milestone 2. So milestone 2 is basically developing the system in databases, developing the system in Microsoft Access. So in high school, we are using Microsoft Access. So the database program that we use in high school is Microsoft Access. So before going to the documentation part, in milestone 2, you begin constructing the system, sorry. You begin from table design. You now develop the tables, you develop the relationships, you develop queries, you develop forms, you develop reports. After developing all of them is now when you come and explain it, a step-by-step guide of what you've done. So that is what you do. So I know in this video I've explained much of the documentation part of milestone 2. So the system part of milestone 2, basically milestone 2 is system construction. So the construction part, I have it in separate videos. So, and I have the links attached below. So, and I'm going to share my contact on the screen, so it will be visible the entire time. So if you have any question, if you need any help with your project work, you can reach out to me. Yes, and then I would like to thank you for staying with me up to the end of this video. So I don't take that for granted. I really appreciate. So, and I will wish that you support me by subscribing, by commenting where do you want me to rectify the changes, and I will really appreciate. So thank you. You have a nice time.